and mixing up some holiday cake. Just doing a little hangout for this afternoon for a little while. I'm actually not gonna, this won't be done during this stream. It'll be done during the, I'll do the reveal tonight during the usual live stream at 8 o'clock on Thursday night, 8 o'clock. Yeah, I'm trying out some new angles here with the, I've got the kitchen set up a little bit differently. But we'll get this cake finished, and then we'll get it into the oven. And because it's got about 3 hours to bake, so that's where we're at. If anybody can hear and see me okay, just hit the like button for me. Appreciate it. I'm not sure if anybody can or they cannot. Happy New Year to you. What's up, Rich? Choo choo, buddy. Good to see you. There we go. Now I'm all hooked into the comment section officially. Yes, we can. Okay, great. We'll see how this runs. I'm trying different angles out with I got my island built this week, and see if we can't see how that's going to affect all the different angles of it or not. I might have to move that back just a smidge because I think the hit my autofocus. No scratch and sniff button, what gives? Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working on it right now. Hope everybody's having a great New Year's Day. But what I've done so far is I've got a half a stick of butter in here, creaming. I've got about a tablespoon and a half of molasses going. And let's see, what else did I already put in there? And 3/4 cup of brown sugar. This is something, I'm just kind of messing around with this, really. I'm just trying to, like I said, I'm just trying to figure out the angles with the island and everything, and then we'll do we'll actually do the reveal tonight when I'm done with, when I do everything tonight, as I'm going to, like I said. Because tonight, I was going to make a pork roast, sauerkraut, potatoes, but I've had so much pork, sauerkraut, and potatoes and seen it so much today that the last thing I want to do is have any more, any kind of pork or sauerkraut or potatoes. I think I'll save that for tomorrow and do it. But I'm actually making this for Saturday. I got another Christmas celebration Saturday to go to, or to have here, so I'm trying out a cake to see if I like it. And that'll give me plenty of time to see how the recipe comes out, actually. What's up, William Hurt? Lazy day here, fixing to go start some black-eyed peas. Yeah, seems like seems to be the big traditional thing that everybody's making today, which is why tonight I think I'm going to do spicy chicken sandwiches and french fries in beef tallow. I think that's what I'm going to do. Bun pan skillet cake. I'm going to do this in this one, my number 6 Wagner unmarked, that I bake everything in. I bake everything in this. And this one is, I don't know if you guys can, if it's too close or not. Like I said, still checking this out. But this is a mid-60s unmarked Wagner pan. And you can tell the mid-60s because the outsides are smooth. They haven't, after 69, Wagner really changed the design because of the sale. They sold to, I think it was General Housewares. But they weren't smooth on the inside anymore. And these are still milled and machined. And I'm actually going to, I got my notification today, Happy New Year. Oh, cool. What's up, Cynthia? But yeah, I'm going to, I'm actually turning up the oven to 325. And that's where we're going to bake it. Like I said, we're not going to do the full cook. I'm going to do the reveal tonight. We're just trying out like I said, I'm trying out the new angles and all that. And making this cake. Because the cake takes about 3.5 hours to make. Which is why this year, with the new year, I'm going to be doing a lot more videos. regular videos, as opposed to, we'll still be doing live streams and things like that, but videos are going to be one of the bigger primary things that I do this year. That's going to be the big change. A lot more short videos, more edited videos, stuff like that. That's what I'll be doing. So, you know, what's the size of the Mark Wagner? That is, no, it's not scarce. These, you can get these. Yeah, there's nothing. This was my first skillet that I ever restored, ever. This was one that I did for, not the first one ever, but my first one that I ever did professionally for anybody. And I've told the story a couple times, I think, that when I did that, as payment for doing this box of restoring these cast iron skillets for a guy who had an antique store, he let me pick a skillet to keep. So I kept that skillet. And that was my first. So it was kind of cool. I have kind of a memento of my first restoration that I did like professionally. So that's pretty cool. My house and stove are full. Happy New Year, William. Yeah. Got to go now. Drive back and see you tonight. Happy New Year. Well, good. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's just a hangout. It's just kind of I'm checking how the camera reacts to everything and all that. Which I don't know if this is going to continue to jump on me like that. I got to mess around with the cameras. But anyway, I'm going to add a little bit more to the mix. Like I said, I've got 1.5 tablespoons of molasses in here. I've got 3/4 cup of brown sugar and half stick of butter. I creamed that up. So that should be cool where that's at. Now what I've got over here is I've got my smooth bottom, or 6 smooth bottom. Yeah, it's a smooth bottom unmarked from the mid 60s. It's got the made in the USA on it. I don't know, am I not holding it up where you guys can really see it that well? Yeah, it's just the made in the USA, number 9, number 6 skillet. There we go. And I've got my glasses off so I can't read the comments, because I didn't change where the monitor sits in here. That was one thing. Yeah, I'm making a holiday cake. It's kind of something I was just messing around with. And then I've got over here, I got some bourbon soaked dried fruit, and I've got 6 ounces of dates in there that are cut up, and then 5 ounces of gold raisins, and I've got another 5 ounces of cranberries, and then a quarter, 2.5 ounces of pineapple. And I soaked these in about half of a cup of bourbon, and that's what's in there. Now we'll add some, I'm going to leave the bourbon in there. I'm not going to drain it. I'm just going to add all that back in there, and I'm hoping that my measurements, what I figured out would be okay with this, actually come out. So we're going to add that into there and put that into here. Mix that around. It smells really good. It smells super good. I don't know where Fuzz is. They're getting some really bad weather up where he's at. I've got the on the back. Luckily, I've got a big screen. My TV is enormous, so I've got the TV facing this way, so I can watch. I've been watching the weather. He's somewhere freezing. Yeah, it's cold wherever he is, man. He's up by Lake Erie. He's way closer to Lake Erie than I am, so he's up there. So I'm trying to make sure that I've told everybody. Oh, and I put about 3 ounces of dried pineapple in here as well. Oh, you talked with him this morning? Very cool, very cool. But I'm just going to mix that together because I don't want to overdo this. That's one thing that I'm trying to stay away from. And I was kind of deciding last night when I soaked this at about 8 o'clock, 8 or 9 o'clock. And I took it out just about 5 minutes ago. So there we go. And now I'm going to add, see, what am I going to add? I'm going to add a cup of flour, roughly, to this, just all-purpose flour. What's up, Rick? Good to see you. Cup all-purpose flour. Make sure that is all-purpose flour. Yep, it is. There should be just about a cup in this, in there. It says 1 cup on the side, but I'm just going to double measure it just to make sure. Yep, about a cup. Cup of flour. There, I can wash that. But I'm digging the, let's see, going to be taking Mercy to town in a few minutes. Oh, okay. Let's see here, and then we're going to put, I'm going to mix this up just a little bit, kind of mix that around. I don't want to over mix the fruit in this. Like I said, this is a recipe that I was just kind of messing around with. I'm hoping it actually comes out halfway decent. So, see what happens. There we go. You guys can see in there all right. And that's all I want to do with that. But this smells really good. This is like amazing smelling. It's kind of like my take on a fruit cake, that you don't have to do like spend the whole week or two. You just sort of make it for the day. Because I knew there had to be kind of an easier way to do fruit cake than soaking it for weeks on end and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to do something that was kind of similar to my to Graham's pork cake, but without doing pork cake, because sometimes pork cake, it gets a bad rap. People think it's like a meat, almost like a meat pie or whatever, when it's actually just a cake. But I wanted to have that same kind of consistency, the sweetness of it, and all that. And I'm trying to figure out what the heck I did with my oil that I just had. There it is. Just using some vegetable oil. Got a 1/4 cup of oil I'm going to drop into there. Beezy Maker, yeah, she's in there sleeping right now. I'm surprised she hasn't been in there. She's been on the couch like all day long. She hasn't wanted to do anything. I threw some seed out for the birds on the patio a little bit ago, and I thought that would kind of get her sort of motivated to kind of hang out, come out to the kitchen and hang out with me. She came out and kind of gave it the old, yeah, I see it look, and she went back in on the couch. I don't know what her deal is today. But yeah, and I will tell you, I will be totally transparent. She is not, Ma Badger's the one that got her hats for Christmas this year. And I gotta tell you, Ma, she's not digging on the hats. She has not been her favorite thing. She has not been a fan of that at all. Not even kind of. Got oil mixed in there. She got a sombrero, and she got the Nashville Bachelorette hat, the official Nashville Bachelorette hat, and she wasn't too into it. She's not digging on it. Let's see. So let's start putting in our spices. And one thing I do want to put in there that I always put into these things is some black pepper. And I'm trying to figure out where I keep putting everything. I'm sort of with this with the island being in here. I'm trying to figure out like where everything goes. So that's been it's been one of the bigger issues so far. So let's do a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And that's going to be a 1/4 teaspoon for everything, because I don't want this to be too overpowering. It takes some time to get in. Yeah, I don't know. I think she has The thing with the hats is in case nobody's noticed, the Beagle has enormous ears. Like her ears are humongous. That's really the kind of the endearing quality that rat terriers have, is they have enormous ears. And so unless I kind of alter, that I actually alter the hats a little bit, I don't think they comfortably fit on her head. Is really I think it's what it all comes down to. So I think that's the big thing. I don't think they fit very well on her head. So we had a little bit of black pepper in there. Yeah, dogs just aren't really made to wear hats or boots. Overall, I don't think it's really one of their things they really look forward to wearing. Any of those kind of things. We'll get some cinnamon. We'll do some nutmeg. Where is my nutmeg? There it is. Yeah, dogs and hats, it's just not really, it's kind of our gangish. And 1/4 teaspoon of the nutmeg in here. That into there. But I am digging on the island, I got to admit, and it's nice to have somewhere else that I can set some stuff as I'm doing live streams. And I don't have to rely just on that one little spot anymore. Babies are similar. They don't like socks or mittens or yet. Yeah, my kids never liked hats on. They never liked socks. And I always had to, with my youngest one, with Ming, I always had to turn her socks inside out. She didn't like that seam. I always had to buy the seamless socks. Let's see, and then we got our 1 egg. Our 1 egg in there. Put that in there. Wipe my hands off. Nutmeg. Let's see. Oh, and baking powder. I do want to throw a cord there. That's also all these measurements are 1/4 teaspoon. Best of the Minkster for a Happy New Year. Yeah. I don't know what Minkster's doing today. I think she's sleeping. I know Ma Badger called her a little bit ago, and she didn't answer, so she's probably sleeping. This is the first day off the Minkster has had off in, gosh, I don't know. That kid hasn't had a day off since Labor Day. So today and yesterday were sort of recovery days for her, I believe. Let's see, so we got our flour in there. We're gonna add some walnuts into it. About 1/3 cup, I think, is what I'm gonna end up with the walnuts. And I'm gonna leave the walnuts large sized halves because I think they're gonna get broken up anyway by the time it's done. So where's my 1/3 cup? There's my 1/3 cup. There we go. 1/3 cup of the walnuts. And what else we got? Already got a flour in there, got our nutmeg, allspice. That was the other one. I'm going to do 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, which should be sitting up here someplace. 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. And I do want to be fairly exact with the allspice because we all know that the allspice is going to Truckerverse, what's up, buddy? Happy New Year to you too. If everybody could take a few minutes and maybe just hit that, just a second, and hit that like button or double tap the screen, that would be great. And we'll mix that all in together. And there we go. I think that should just be about everything. This is fairly easy. This has been like a fairly easy recipe to throw together. And I'm hoping that it actually works out because I didn't really get it from anywhere. I just sort of kind of looked at a bunch of Christmas and fruitcake recipes and sort of took out what I wanted out of it and then added what I wanted to add to it. I'm going to put my can in to warm up because we are going to kind of treat this like cornbread a little bit. We're going to heat the pan up to the temperature. So I'm gonna set my timer for about 7 minutes and let that warm up. And we're gonna pour it, and then that's what we're gonna do for the next. I am gonna cover it with foil as well. So I'll just throw that out there. There we go. Turn that to the back. I always like that to sit to the back a little bit, so it doesn't drip out onto the floor. There we go. Boy, that smells great. I mean, that smells exceptionally good. But I think if I would do it again, I think I would go rum as opposed to bourbon. I think I would like the spiced rum as opposed to that. Because bourbon kind of has a lot of carryover flavor as where rum doesn't. And if I remember the contents of what's under the cupboard, in the cupboard there, I would imagine that there is some spiced rum sitting around up there. There we go. There we are. So I'll show you the consistency of that, which is about what I wanted. I don't think I'd want it to be any thicker, but if you guys can see into there, it's a really pretty, it's really pretty looking batter. And it seems like it's going to be really full. The only thing that I'm concerned about is if it's actually too full of fruit. Because this is, like I said, it's a made up thing. Let's see, where and what do. Come on, Ricky, you right? Cynthia's cooking. We know what Cynthia's doing. She's cooking, and she's keeping an eye on that cast iron collection that she's got. I'm going to throw just a couple more walnuts in there. And we'll mix those into there. Lock that down. There we go. But I want this to be full. I want it to be full. Just, when you get in like a fruitcake and stuff like that, you're getting a little something in every. You're getting a little bit of it in every bite. So there we go. Mercy B, what's going on? Happy New Year to you. Good to see you. The batter tastes really good. You can definitely taste the bourbon though. You can definitely taste the bourbon. That might just be of it. And bourbon taste isn't exactly what I was looking. I was looking to taste first thing. I tasted a lot of bourbon yesterday. So maybe that's the other reason that bourbon's kind of having a little aversion for me this morning. And I let off fireworks last night at midnight. And let's just say there's a huge hole in my backyard now. A huge hole. It looks like they filmed Saving Private Ryan in my backyard. Yeah, it was and there was shrapnel. There's shrapnel all over the backyard as well. So there was definitely some bourbon and fireworks going on last night. Let's see what's going on in the comment section. Everybody just saying hello to each other. And we'll grease that pan up really well. But like I said, when that's out, it's got a couple more minutes of heating up. I should have done that ahead of time, but I didn't. And so once that's out, we'll add a little bit of unsalted butter into the inside of that. And we're going to cover it with foil. And then it's going to sit there at 325 for about 2.5 hours. And then after that 2.5 hours, then I'm going to take the foil off, and then it's going to cook. It's going to bake for about another half hour to 45 minutes at 325. So it's got a ways. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure out some camera angles, messing around with that. Having a walnut. Walnuts are good. That was a good call. But yeah, kind of figuring out the angles. But tonight we'll be doing fries. We'll be doing French fries and chicken sandwich, spicy chicken sandwich maybe. And that's what we're going to be doing. I'm glad I did remember Gatorade today. Have that stocked up in the fridge. That's come in particularly handy today. Now a lot of times I see folks, they do these in they do these cakes and stuff, they do them in like parchment lined pans. I'm going to old school on this. We're just going to do cast iron, well greased. And let me get out, I think I need to get my stick of butter out as well. Just happen to have a half stick of butter laying around that I left cold, so we can use that to grease the pan. And that's what we're doing. Unsalted, so it doesn't burn. Hopefully we get a nice, I don't know if we'll get a sizzle once I pour all this in there, but it's still, and the house is going to smell, man, it's going to smell very holiday-ish once I start baking this. There we go. Let's see, I got about, yeah, I'd say it's ready to come out. It's been in there about 8 minutes, so it should be heated up fairly decent. In this pan, I've always used this pan for baking, no matter, like I've never made anything else in this pan other than baked food. And so when I heat it up, it always smells like cinnamon. It always smells like something's been like baking in there. Always smells like baked food. So let's get that butter in there. And do that. Okay, timer went off. Give me my. There we go. Yeah, it always smells like. The pan always smells like cinnamon and chocolate. So I usually don't wash it with any kind of soap or anything. I just let it kind of hang on to all the flavors that have been cooked in it over the years. And I've been baking desserts into this one. We call this one the number 6. Because in those days I still had names for pans because I didn't have that many pans. Maybe about 4. So there we go. That's nice and oiled up. And we'll take this and add our batter to this. I don't know if I'll get a sizzle or not. Hopefully we do. There we go. That came out, but I was hoping, so far so good. I was hoping for the right amount in this pan. So like I said, this isn't really anybody's recipe. This is sort of me. I kind of messed around with this and came up with this. So I was hoping that this would fit, that I wouldn't have to use a bigger or smaller pan for that. Put that over just a hair. Or move the camera back even. But I think the 6 is going to be the right size. There we go. And I think I'd be crazy not to sprinkle a little bit of some spices on the very top of that. There we go. I think that looks pretty. I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. Even my batter out just a little bit, because this is a really, really thick batter. Really thick. There we go. And there we are. You guys see that okay? Move that up just a smidge there, that way. And then I'll get my foil, throw that onto there. It almost seems like it needs a little something on the top. Does anybody else think it needs a little something on the top? I think it does. Something. It needs something. But I don't want to mess with it too much. I think I'll just leave it the way it is. I'll leave it the way it is. So we'll get that, and we'll sort of, sort of cover that in foil, and we'll throw it in there. And then, like I said, tonight at my normal time of 8 o'clock, we'll do the reveal and see how it all came out. Like I said, we'll do the 325 for 2.5 hours. Then at 2.5 hours, Deborah Butterworth, what are you making? I am making a holiday cake. It's kind of something that I was sort of messing around with. Kind of messing with this recipe. And I think that it's going to turn out. I think it's going to all turn out. But like I said, we'll do the reveal tonight at 8 o'clock at the normal time. But I'm gonna hang out. I'll be on here for just a little bit until I get that all into there. Yeah, Karen, how are you? Good to see you. And I think I am gonna put maybe some pecans on top of that. I think some roasted pecans would be nice on top of there. So let's do that. I do have some pecans laying around. There we go. And we'll sprinkle some onto that, on the top of that. There we go. And we'll just put some of those on top of there. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more. Which is another reason that I wanted to video this, because I wanted, if this turns out right, I want to make sure I have double the recipe, a double spot to have the recipe, so if it worked out, I knew exactly what I put in it, which is kind of par for the course with me. So I forget to write stuff down. There was stuff on there that I knew on my list of things to add into there that I actually didn't write down. So I had to kind of do it on the fly. Yeah, but if you're out there and you want to see how this comes out tonight, definitely hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and the notification bell, because I will be back on at 8 o'clock to break this thing back out. Move this back just a touch so I can move that over a little bit. There we go. Hopefully that's still in the camera shot. And I'm going to wrap that up with the foil and put it in. Let's see. I always wondered, is it better to shiny or dull side down? What do you guys do? It's one of those things I should probably look up one of these days on the interwebs and see what it says. See what it says to do. I'm going dull side because I don't want it to over brown. I think that's really what they mean when for the shiny side. I think that's why you do the shiny side. I think that's what would make sense. But what makes sense to me and what makes sense to the rest of the world is probably two completely different things. There we go. And we'll save all that. Some of the foil has a non-stick. Some foil has a non-stick on the dull side. Oh, really? Okay. That makes a lot of sense. That makes 100% sense. There we go. Put that in there. There we go. All right. Kind of looks like Jiffy Pop. Should have the little spiral or something in the center. But yeah, it looks like Jiffy Pop. Make sure the handle's still pretty hot. Hot enough that I don't want to, I'm not much on baking. You know, baking to me is a new thing too. Rick, to be honest. I'm more, before I started doing like this channel, everything I did was on the grill. Like everything, I mean, I cooked inside. I cooked on the skillets and stuff a lot, but most everything I ever did was on a grill. So anyway, here we go. I'm gonna throw this in and set my timer for 2.5 hours. Because one thing about this thing, it does have a lot of moisture in it. So I'll set the timer for 2.5 hours. And I'll take that off. And then I'll take that off for like a half hour to 45 minutes. Because I know that top's going to need to brown up. Especially now that I added the other stuff to it. Well, okay, we'll get through it together, right? What am I making? I'm making a holiday cake. Kind of a shorter version of fruitcake. But one that you can do in a day, in just a few minutes, a couple hours of baking, as opposed to doing a fruit cake like all week long or over the thing. I like your advice on adding black pepper to the spice mixture. Makes a world of difference. Yeah, just a little bit, and it doesn't take much. Handsome Stone, and I've done that. I've done that my whole time. My Graham always said to do that, so I've always done it. Anytime I add anything that's like a cinnamon or nutmeg, kind of anything like that. Even eggnog, when we did eggnog a week or two ago, I added black pepper to the eggnog, and it makes a big difference. It makes all those other how do I want to say it? It makes all the other spices pop. And that was sort of her trick that she always said anytime she ever did that. Even like the pork cake, it has black pepper in it. Pumpkin pie, it always has like a little sprinkling of, a lot of people put black or nutmeg and stuff on top of their pumpkin pie. Graham always put black pepper on the top of it. Tom's Food Factory, what's going on, buddy? Let's see. Yeah, Carrie, black pepper, and not much. If you're using like, say, hey, hiya, Janet, how are you? Yeah, if you're ever using like any kind of like a pumpkin pie spice, I'll just be general with that. Just add, you don't have to add like, say if you're using a 1/4 cup of your spices at a time, just a sprinkle of black pepper, it'll do it. And like say if you use like a cracked pepper, like from a grinder, that's actually even better, because it'll really make those things pop out. But yeah, Tom's Food Factory, Jeanette's here. No, we're starting to show up, and I'm just about done for right now. But yeah, so like I said, hit your notification bell. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I'll be back on in about 4 hours or so, and then we'll do the reveal on that cake. And like I said tonight, I'm not gonna. Everybody seems to be doing pork and sauerkraut and different things like that. I'm just not gonna do that tonight. I've got a pork roast in there and sauerkraut and potatoes, and I'm gonna make it tomorrow. I'm more feeling like after New Year's Eve, I think I want some fried chicken. I'm gonna make fried chicken sandwiches. So yeah, we're gonna make chicken sandwiches and some French fries tonight. We're gonna do that in some beef tallow and see how that works out with the French fries. So I've never personally used beef tallow to make French fries. So tonight's gonna be the big reveal for that. We're just gonna make some simple steak fries and a chicken sandwich. So I guess we'll go from there. But I'm gonna clean this out. I should go ahead, I might just go ahead and rinse this out, and I'm gonna start my bread right now. I think I'll just go ahead and start the bread while we're already here. I think I could just keep going with this, to be super honest. Yeah, I think we will do that. I think we're gonna make our bread. Let me get out my bread recipe. Never mind, I don't think I'm gonna go anywhere. I am gonna change my gloves though. And I'm gonna rinse this out, and we're gonna make our bread for our rolls. So here we go. And I'm just gonna use my basic bread recipe that I've used that I came up with years ago. So yeah, if you guys want to stick around, I think I am just going to stick around because I do need to make that bread, and it's going to have to. I don't know if we're going to so much. How do I want to say it? If we're going to get the bread done, but it'll need to rise a couple times, and this will be about enough time. About 4 hours is what I'm going to need for that to be ready to do some hamburger buns, some burnt buns. Because I'm not going to go to the store today. No, I don't think anything's open, so we'll just go. Let me rinse this out, and we'll get started on making some bread. Huh? Bonus. Oh my god, this is what we got. So let me rinse this out. And we'll get going on that. Because unfortunately I only have one mixing bowl for the KitchenAid. I do want to get one of those wooden ones that they have. I've been kind of eyeballing those. And I ordered some stuff from Lodge today. So there was a couple things Lodge had that I do want to take advantage of getting while they still have them. And I know a lot of people were talking about, people were talking about last night on Cast Iron Chaos's live stream about some of the discontinued things that Lodge was doing. So I decided, I got up this morning and I checked the stock and I ordered some stuff from Lodge. So hopefully in the coming days, Barbados, very cool. Let's see. Kroger is open today. Yeah, Kroger. I thought Kroger would be open, but really I was trying to think what I actually needed from Kroger, and I don't think I need much of anything. So I'm just going to make some bread. Because I'm not going to go and get stuff out of the... I was just going to buy buns, but I think I'll just make them instead. What is being discontinued? Well, the enamelware, for one, they've discontinued that, I guess, which I think that's a really dumb idea to discontinue that, because I don't think it had time to really catch on. I think where Lodge really dropped the ball on that whole thing with their enamelware was that they didn't give it time. I mean, if you're like me, and I know a lot of folks out there that are cast iron folks, we had everything. You know what I mean? We had everything. And when it comes to Lodge, you can go through my kitchen and go through my kitchen and go through the Lodge catalog, and there's not really much of the basic stuff that Lodge has that I don't have. And I think a lot of people that collect cast iron are sort of the same way. I think that their enamelware shipped really badly, and the price was just... Now see, like I looked at one like the stuff I looked at today, I wanted a 3-quart. I didn't need a big one. And their prices were really, really inexpensive. So I was gonna give it a try. So if it comes to me and it's chipped, I'll just send it back and get my money back. But I'm gonna see how it does. I wanted to get one of their 3-quart. I don't have a 3-quart Dutch oven, so that's what I went and got. So yeah, well, I wanted to try it out. And for what they're charging for it now, I can't really replace that with anything else. Was it the American enamel? Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I ordered. So and it's, one of the things that I'm surprised that they didn't do at Lodge was I was surprised that they didn't make skillets, because I would really like to have an enameled cast iron skillet that's basically like the old school ones that had that were enameled on the outside but cast iron on the inside, because I don't like the new how they do. I don't like the having the enamelware on the inside. I do not like that. But I really like the idea that they have like the old style favorite skillets and stuff like that. They had everything on the outside. Let's see here if I can find my bread recipe. Hands are dry. But yeah, I would have liked to add a skillet like that. But, you know, maybe I should have just had a cast iron company. Let's see. If I can't find my, see if I can't find this. Oh, there's my bread recipe right there at the top. Okay. So let's do this. Yeah, there we go. There's my bread recipe. How long does it take Lodge to answer emails? Anytime I've ever emailed Lodge about anything, it hasn't really taken that long for them to get back to me. So I don't know. It shouldn't take that long, I would imagine. Let's see. So I need, how much water do I need? 1 1/4 cup of water. So I'm going to have to maybe move the stand over just a little bit this way so I can get into my water and to my yeast. Because I always keep the yeast in the fridge. There's my yeast. And there's my water. There we go. But yeah, I mean, Lodge is pretty cool about some stuff. I mean, it's all right if you want to. Lodge is all right if you're. It's the only problem. Lodge is a great company, but the only problem that I've ever had with asking Lodge anything is, how do I say it? Is if I ask them about like when they made something. They were like the absolute worst as far as like the history of their own products. Like I never have good luck with getting an answer from Lodge about when they made something. That's the one that's the thing I've never had much luck with them on. And I don't know, you would think if that was your business, then you would be better at it, but they're not too hot about that. So yeah, there is that. But let's get 1 1/4 cup of water to start with, and I'm gonna throw that in the microwave because I want that to be 110 degrees. I bought an old KitchenAid. The grease needs changed in the gears, which I bought food grade grease for. Did you already, Steve? Did you already do it? Did you already refurbish yours? Let's turn out to do that for about 20 seconds in the microwave. Because I not yet. There's a place. I used to work with a guy who worked at the KitchenAid plant, and he said that they would you could send yours back and they would redo them. I don't know how true that is. I've never tried to do it, but I mean, if he's, the guy worked there. That's one of the advantages of living here in the manufacturing belt of the world, of America, is we make everything here. There's a plant not far from me where they make KitchenAid. I noticed the viscosity of the grease breaking down, and actually running out of the gear unit. Oh, okay. I get that. Let's see here. Let's see what this water's reading. Yeah, it needs another 20 seconds or so. It needs another 20 seconds. So the only thing, this is like the only thing that I ever use my microwave for, is to heat up water. That's it. That's like that's my entire thing. I do love eating macaroni and stuff. It's fun. Yeah, I do too. Normally, and a lot of times I've been making sourdough. Everything sort of sourdough all my baked goods. But today I didn't want to mess with the starter. I didn't want to do all that and get all that going, and I didn't do it ahead of time, so it would take, I didn't want to spend 2 days on a batch of hamburger buns, which is all I'm going to make with this anyway. Eventually, I mean, it's this bread. So 84 degrees, still not hot enough. And what does my bread say on the amount of, let's see. See if I wrote it down on the back. It says 2.5 tablespoons or 2.5 teaspoons of yeast. I don't know. Figure that out. I've got the meat grinder and the sausage stuffer. Yeah. Do you ever try the attach? Yeah, I have a lot of the attachments. The one thing that I did have trouble with, I had the ice cream maker, and I could never get the ice cream maker to. The ice cream maker is supposed to clip onto right here. I could never get it to clip onto that. And I've watched people do it and all that, and eventually I just gave up on it and took it back. So there's, 110 degrees, exactly. That's exactly what but I do want to get that. I do want to get the meat grinder. Okay, so we got that. And we'll do our 2.25 teaspoons of yeast, which would be about what the packet is. And roughly 1/4 teaspoon into there. You got the pot? No, I don't. The attachments that I have are basically for the front, like the food processor ones. I think I might, and I actually have the ring that goes around the inside, the outside of this that keeps everything in there, which I should have gotten out, but I don't know if I can get it out without getting all the stuff out. But I got like the basic stuff that came with this, because this one is a 1990, and I know that because it was a gift from somebody in my family. So 2 teaspoons of sugar. We need to feed feed our yeast. Get you guys over top of that. Get you guys down over top of here a little bit. See if that does anything for you. See on the inside, there you go. And then 2 teaspoons of sugar. And we'll let that kind of do its thing. There we go. Let it feed that yeast. There we go. But yeah, that's I'm trying to think. And one thing I did get that came with it that a lot of times you don't get with the old yeah, I can't get to the other ones without moving everything. But I did get the pusher for the food processor, which is pretty cool. Those are hard to come by for the old ones. But yeah, that's a 1990 classic. Let's see. We'll give that a stir. Let's see. Oh, I'm on the wrong recipe. I'm on this recipe. I need to move that out of my way, or I'm going to be making cake into this bread. Let's see. So that's what we're going to have to mess with here for the next. Rinse off this spatula, and we'll kind of move that around a little bit, and we'll give that the 10 minutes to get. Give that 10 minutes to get foamy. There we go. Let that sugar get to it. There we go. Stir that around. And I'm going to cut my butter up. I'm just going to use that other stick. I'm going to use this and throw that in there as well. I'm going to let that butter soften. I've got this half stick of butter right here. I'm just going to go ahead and drop that into there because I'm going to throw this butter into there anyway. But I'm going to cut that down. See, my mom's KitchenAid mixer has to be from the early 1970s. Oh, okay, cool. But I'm going to let that butter soften in the heat of the water. So yeah. There we go. And there's no salt in that, so it shouldn't make any difference in it. Oh, it's still, it's still working. That's what you mean. Okay, I got you. Roger that. That's cool. There we go. So we got that going in there. So that should be softened up by then. And then I'll get out then we'll do everything. There's not really too much to this. And this is actually my bread recipe too. There's when I first started making bread for myself, I just thought that they have way too much flour in bread. A lot of times I'd see stuff on the internet and it would be like 6.5 cups of flour, 7 cups of flour for a loaf of bread. And I just don't see needing all that flour. And once I cut the flour down and I use basically the same amounts of other stuff like the packet of basically what I just did, the 2.25 teaspoons of the yeast is basically what you would use. That's what comes in those packets. So I still use that same amount. And then I equaled up. A lot of times I used a lot more sugar. So I cut it down to 2 teaspoons of sugar. And then I'll do an equal amount of salt once I have the flour and everything in there. So that's kind of where I'm going from there. That's where I'll be at that point. Let me wipe off this cup. So I'm going to use that for my flour. And then we'll have this, and then it'll take a couple hours for the bread to be made. But that's the one thing, I do love sourdough cooking and I do love sourdough bread, but there's just times where I would just rather make regular bread like this than have the rest of the whole house, or you know what I mean? Then wait two days to make a loaf of bread or overnight or whatever. It just seems like it makes a little more sense to do it that way. Let me get out my let's get out the dough hook for this, and we'll mix that around just a little bit. The dough hook on there, and sort of mix in that butter. That butter get down in there, and knock that around in that warmer butter or warmer water. There we go. Yeah, that butter's softening up. That butter will be real nice, and that'll be nice and soft by the time it's all done. And putting unsalted butter, it doesn't help. It doesn't stop the bloom. Anyway, I try to put the salt in last till the yeast has bloomed anyway. I know a lot of people say it doesn't matter, but I don't know if it does or it doesn't. To be really honest, I have no idea. I have no idea if it does or if it doesn't. Alright, that's all I need on that. That's from the back. Oh, I can never get that. There we go. That's sit towards there. Just time we got about another 5 minutes. Then I'll start adding the flour into there. And I'm going to go ahead and get my flour out while I'm thinking about it. Let's see, what have I got? If they have enough flour. Yeah, I should have enough to do a batch of buns. All purpose, what is that? Is that bread flour? Yeah. I have bread and all-purpose, so it should be all right. Oh, and I've got another bag. I've got another bag. I got 2 bags, so we shouldn't have run into too much. Got my peas going back now. Oh yeah, your black-eyed pea. You know what? I was thinking about the other day. I don't know if I've ever had a black-eyed pea or not. I have no idea if I ever have. I'm from the north. Black-eyed peas just aren't a big thing here where I'm at. I'm damn near to Canada, to be honest. Black-eyed peas, and like with cornbread, we always had what do you call it? Jiffy cornbread. We had a couple people whose grandmas would make like real cornbread. They were southern, but yeah, Jiffy was kind of the way, at least in my house. You know, I'd go to other people's houses. 'Cause we have a lot of people where I grew up had a lot of people that kind of migrated up from Kentucky. So we had a lot of southern cooking. Just my mom didn't cook southern, you know. Yeah, there wasn't much southern cooking going on in my house. Because I was probably a teenager before I ever had biscuits and gravy. My mom was definitely not a biscuits and gravy kind of person. I don't know if I've ever even seen my mom have biscuits and gravy. That's not really in her wheelhouse. My mom's kind of a really healthy eater, no matter what. Like whether it's no matter what. She has always just been a really, really healthy eater. Oh, I forgot to put the crystallized ginger. Damn it, I bought a whole jar of crystallized ginger to put in that cake, and I didn't put it in there. Damn, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be kicking myself for that one all the rest of the day. And even when I cut into that cake tonight, I'm gonna be like, man, I wish I'd had a little bit of that crystallized ginger in there. Mix this around again. Yeah, it's starting to foam up pretty well. It's got about another minute or 2, and then we'll dump in the flour. We'll dump everything else into there. Let that get good and foamy. And I've had that, I know that yeast is probably a year past its expiration date, but I always vacuum seal them when I put them in the fridge, because I buy the yeast in bulk. And yeah, that's had to have been in there for I don't know how long, but those vacuum sealers, if you don't have a vacuum sealer for your jars, definitely it's worth the $20. It's one of the best $20 I've ever spent in my kitchen. Ever. Alright. So let's get out. Let's see. I'm gonna get my bigger measuring cup out for this, because that'll just be easier. I'll just pour the flour into there. That one over, which I'll still need it, but yeah, here in like 1 minute, yeah, we can go ahead and we'll start getting our flour together. So I'm going to use, what does it say? I think it's 4.5 cups is what I use. Yeah, 4.5 cups of flour. So, and I don't sift my flour down or any of that stuff. I just use it. I mean, it probably does matter, but for me in bread, it doesn't. I don't think it makes any difference. By the time I chunk it down and knock it around and all that. There we go. There we go. There we are. Oh, you can't really see what I'm doing. Should have put it on the other side. Like I said, that was the other reason I'm doing this today. Figure out these new angles now that I've built this island put this island together in the middle of the kitchen, incorporating the island in there. If you try black I recommend the Camellia, hope I'm saying that right, brand, soaked overnight and cooked with what do you mean, back fat for the seasoning? Yeah, like I said, yeah, I've never had it ever. You know, I don't have anything against it per se. I don't think, I mean, I probably have. I mean, I've been to people's houses on like New Year's Eve, but I can't. Like, I went and looked for black-eyed peas yesterday when I was at the grocery store because I thought about making them in with my pork roast, and I didn't even see black-eyed peas here. It's just not a thing where I live, as it would be probably in basically the rest of the world, the rest of the country. But I know those are big. People do eat them. I just don't. I've never had the opportunity. I guess I'd say more the opportunity to have them as opposed to not have them. Set this over this way right there. There we go. Check and see how many. Yeah, but like I said, I've just never had the opportunity to have them. So there's that. Let's see. Way too much flour. Because I emptied my canister, I'm going to have to fill my canister back up at some point. There we go. There we go. Add that into there. See how that does. And there we go, 4.5 cups of flour. There we go. There we are. Good with rice. Yeah, I see a lot of people do add it with. They have it with rice. So yeah. Okay, so we got that in there. Now I'm going to add into my other stuff. See, so I got 4.5 cups of flour into there. Let's see, knock the rest of that out of there. Oh, it got wet. It was wet with that water. Okay. Make a little thing down on the inside of that for the other stuff. Let's see what else I need. So far I've got, I'm going to go ahead and put the 2 teaspoons of salt in now, because I always forget salt. Okay, always forget salt. And I've said this before, man, we had one guy that watches occasionally, and Casanova, and he's always reminds me to put the salt in. So there we go. 2 teaspoons of salt down into the center and onto the outside. Because I feel that now that the yeast is bloomed, the salt shouldn't bother it. Let's see, and then what else do we need? Let's see, pinch of baking soda and a pinch of baking powder. So we did have the baking powder out already, unless I put it back. Let me get my baking soda out. That's how I've always done it that way. Pinch of baking soda. And where's my baking powder? Because I already put it back. And then a pinch of baking powder. There we go. Like so. And I've had pretty good luck with my bread. So it seemed to have worked so far. And we'll throw the dough hook. What did I do with the dough hook? There it is. Back on there. There we go. Okay. I'll do mine on 2. And we'll let it go. Check the comment section, see what's going on in there, if anything at all. Absolutely nothing. Good. Good, good, good. And we'll knock that around as need be. Val, what's going on? Good to see you. One dish. What are you making, chef? I am making, I'm just making some bread. I'm using my bread recipe to do hamburger buns for later on tonight, because later on tonight we're having, what do you call it? Fried chicken sandwiches. Crispy chicken sandwiches, as they call them in a restaurant. Val has entered the room. Yeah, I saw you're feeling better, Val. I did see that message this morning. Glad you are. I played in the snow today. Shovel therapy. Oh, then you must be feeling better. I have not I shoveled yesterday. Howdy, honey. Oh man, what did that say? What did that say? Howdy, honey. Howdy. Yeah, if you could put that up about mods again, the message that I did not see, that would be pretty cool. Let me, did I wipe that one? Yeah, I did wipe this off. There you go. Keep that in there. Because I saw a thing. I really want to see if I can mess around with the height of my mixing bowl, or the height of this. I want to see if I can move that down a little bit. I have to get the gear kit from my mix ordered. It didn't run. Oh, okay. I said howdy to you, mods. Oh, okay. I gotcha. I gotcha. I don't think Greg Hart is in here today. Usually, speaking of mods, he is one of the mods, and I do not believe him to be in here today. But I didn't say that I was going to do this. I'm just doing it. Like I said, I just wanted to try, now that the island's done here in the kitchen, I just wanted to give it a go and try and kind of check out my angles and all that stuff, and just stuff like that. And I was going to show the cake. I showed the cake how I made the cake, but the cook time on the cake is like 3 hours. So I hit the like and we'll share out to Facebook. Oh, okay. I don't know if I don't know if I've ever put it out on Facebook, except for the time that Artie Bliss was here, because he shared it to Facebook. I'm not on Facebook myself, so that's why I don't. But it will be. That's one of the goals for 2026. Is that it will be out there to we'll be doing other platforms. Once I figure out how to multicast, which I kind of think I have it. I just need to upgrade the software to get to that point. So that's all really it's going to take. I've been really messing with this whole thing a lot over the break, the holiday break. Kind of flip this around, make sure we get. But yeah, talking about the height, there just seems like this could go lower than it does, because I always end up with something with stuff stuck at the bottom that it doesn't seem to really want to pick up. And I saw you can do that with the stand style mixer, the 5.5 quart ones. You can raise and lower by that screw thing on here, but on this one, I don't have that screw. I don't have that. Doesn't matter if anyone comes to my page, they can join. Doesn't matter if anyone comes to my page, they can join the live or watch ever. Oh, okay, very cool. Let me see if I can't get this stuff off the bottom, and we'll just put that into the middle and let that mix up for another minute or two, and then we'll just let it do its rise. Let it rise, because it shouldn't. 4.5 cups of water. Every once in a while, depending on the humidity or whatever, whatever science goes along with making bread. Sometimes every once in a while, I'll have to add just a little bit of I'll have to add just a little bit, but usually I don't. Let's see. Baking soda, baking powder. Make sure I got everything in here. Yeah, that was it. That's all you need to make this bread recipe. And this makes a nice sized loaf of bread. Or I think it makes 6. I think it makes 6 buns, if I remember right. I've been playing with sourdough so much I don't remember how much. I don't remember how much my actual bread makes. So I haven't made bread in my mixer in since I started messing with sourdough last summer. There you go. That should be done. And you'll know when it's done the bowl's clean on the inside. It's fairly clean, so it should be good. Now all I got to do is sit, and I'll let that rise. You can make small buns, or you can get it. Yeah, right. I can. Yeah. But I figure for a crispy chicken sandwich, I'm thinking I'm gonna make big ones for sure. But yeah, you can definitely make. I don't know how many sliders that would make. Probably quite a few. Probably quite a few sliders that would make. Probably 10 to 12, I would imagine. Depending on how big a slider actually is. I can smell that bourbon cooking in the cake. I just went over by the stove and let's see. Yeah, I should make about a dozen. But this is, like I said, Val, this is normally a loaf of bread. A lot of times people use, I mean, at least what I see people doing, and when I was first learning to make bread, it seemed like a lot of people put like 6 to 7.5 cups of flour into their bread. And this one's only got 4. So, you know, is what it is on that. That's why I did it. I mean, I don't need a lot of, I'm not a carb counter. I just kind of watch the amount of sugar and carbs that I eat. So that was the other thing. I wanted to kind of get rid of eating bread that was had so much stuff in it that I didn't really want. Let's see. And there we go. Okay. Put the cap on that. We splurged for the new and made shrimp scampi for, ooh, that sounds good. I need to make, if you guys that have been on the channel for a while, you remember the post I made a long time ago where I made crawfish scampi. And I need to make that again. I really want to do that for the upcoming year. Yeah. So we got a little hat on there. Check and see what time it is. It's about 4:40. So at about 5:40, this will be ready to get punched down. And then what I'll do is, I usually give mine another, once I punch it down, do the first one, I'll punch it down, I'll put it in, I'll do the second, and then I'll cut it up. So you should have oiled the top of that dough. I should have oiled the top of that dough. Good call. Let's oil the top of the dough. That's a great call. That's why you're here. That's why you're around, Val. Watch my fingers and make sure and be the oil, and watch the amount of oil I put on things. You are definitely handy to have around, Val, for sure. For realsies. All right, let me get that on there. And there we go. Oil the top of the bread. No dry dough. Right, exactly. A lot of times a lot of times, and I could do it right now, but I'll oil up the outside, like kind of in there as well. So I think while I'm doing that, I think I will do that on the inside of here. Because I usually do that, and I did not. So since we've got the oil out, and we've already dirtied up the brush, might as well do that. I will put a little bit of kind of oil the inside of there. It doesn't take much, maybe just a little bit more into there. There we go. A little splish of oil into there. There we go. Good job, Val. And we'll drop that back in there. And then we'll put the bottom. Then we'll put the cap back on it. There we go. And there we go. All right. So in about an hour, that'll be ready to knock down. And then after it sits about a half hour, I'll cut that up and we'll make the buns out of it. But until then, just like I said, if you're out there in the stratosphere and you want to come back and check out how everything comes out, which I highly suggest everybody does, come back and join us tonight at 8 o'clock for the normal time, which is 8 o'clock on Thursdays, which I've thought today all day was like Wednesday. I haven't known what day it is for the last 2 weeks. But anyway, stop back tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we will do the reveal on the cake that has still another hour and 45 minutes to cook with the foil on, and then another half hour to 45 minutes with it on. And so we'll see how the cake comes out. We're going to make some crispy fried chicken sandwiches and some homemade buns, and we'll see how the buns come out. All right. But I'm going to jump off here for right now, and I will see you guys at 8 o'clock. All right. See you.